So Elvis, do you want to get started or we want to wait and see if anyone else? Oh, somebody's waiting. Sean?
I have 6:29 on my clock here, so maybe we can wait one more minute before we get started. Maybe, yeah, Sean is joining.
You think, Elvis, should we get started? All right. Well, greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome to our September 14th meeting for Queen City Toastmasters. I am your Sergeant-at-Arms, Jamie Richardson. On today's theme of end of summer, I just had a couple of thoughts. When I think of end of summer, I think of baseball, I think of football, and all of those games always start with at least the national anthem. And so on this day in 1814 is when Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem. So there you go, Star Spangled Banner. With that, we'll get started with our meeting. I call it to order, and I will turn it over to our Toastmaster, Elvis Lopez. Oh no, sorry, our president, David Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant of Arms. Appreciate it. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am David, the president of Queen City. And as tradition, we like to welcome all of our guests. And we do have a guest here in person who actually was with Queen City. He says 5 years ago, but he said it was when he was in his 20s, which was when it was with the YMCA. So I want to go ahead and introduce Steve. Do you want to come up and just, I know you know how to do this. He's a professional speaking coach. So we're going to let him come up and say hello. It's the first time he's been here in a while.
Hi, my name is Steve Stazak. I'm a former Toastmaster. My first experience with Toastmasters was in Winston-Salem, probably in the late 80s. That's when I was 20. And so, you know, I got addicted to, you know, one of the reasons I got into Toastmasters is because I knew somewhere down the line it was going to align with my vocation. I was in sales for a lot of years, and I finally took the leap. Like 10 years ago, became a sales trainer, then meandered my way into a couple leadership companies where I learned how to teach presentation skills and public speaking. And that's what I've been doing for the past 7 or 8 years. My company's Leader Speakers, it's in Charlotte, and I do presentation skills and sales training. And I'm glad to be here tonight, and I hope to be back.
Thank you much. We have a couple guests online, I believe. Is it pronounced Min, or am I pronouncing it wrong? If you want to introduce yourself and how you found out about Toastmasters.
Oh, hi, my name's Min, and I heard about Toastmaster because I have some friends and they joined it before. And I told them that I want to improve my public speaking, especially like overcome the fear of the public speaking, because I'm from Vietnam. And I always worry about my pronunciation. You know, I always worry about incorrect grammar and accent and all of those things. So they say that let's check it out.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming. And you came to the right place. And Eric,
yeah, thank you.
Your guest. Mm-hmm. And Eric, you want to introduce yourself and how you found out about Queen City?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Eric Laxer, and I have been interested in participating in a Toastmasters meeting for about a year. Just never really came around to it. I actually did one earlier this week. So technically speaking, tonight I will be doubling my Toastmasters experience from 1 to 2. I heard about it just through word of mouth through a friend of mine. And I've been wanting to improve my public speaking and leadership skills. And after researching Toastmasters, this definitely seemed like the right place to go. And Queen City just definitely caught my eye with your website and with the video that you sent me. I watched one of your meetings earlier today. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for joining us. And I just have only one officer announcement. Baluth is still in New York, our treasurer, but he wants me to remind everybody that the end of September, our dues are due, $75 for the 6 months. So hopefully by September 30th, you all can pay those dues. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster of the night, which is Elvis Lopez, our VP of Education. And Elvis, I believe our grammarian is here, so you have all your roll keepers.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. Welcome to Queen City Toastmasters. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to be the Toastmaster of the night. The theme that I have chosen for tonight's meeting is Summer's End. As we know, the end of summer is next week. It is a bittersweet time of the year. The hot summer days will be winding down, and we will start doing things such as pushing back our flip-flop to the end of the closet, trying to get comfy sweaters and thinking about boots and some of the winter or fall attires. But before we succumb with the thoughts of the summer ending, it is also a great time for us to look back with gratitude at all those sweet memories of the months or summary memories of the past months. In particular, for example, I enjoyed visiting Nashville with my family. I have never been to Nashville, and it was a great experience. I got to visit several places. I like going to restaurants and enjoy good food, and also basically getting into the culture of the plays and mingling with the other people doing different things and going to places that I've never been. So I enjoyed very much with my family being to Nashville, and that's a very good memory of my summer. I don't know, briefly, if any of you would like to share some memories of this summer. I will open up for anyone who would like to share very briefly before we get into our meeting. Vanessa?
Hey, Elvis, thanks for choosing a great theme. I always am a little bit bittersweet feeling when summer starts to wind down. But one of the things I really enjoyed this summer was after a long time of not doing any travel because of COVID-19, our family decided to do a mini trip to New York City. So we got out of the house, we got a change of scene, and we just did some really simple things, but it was being outside, tasting some delicious food, just eating it outside with the beautiful sunshine, and having that kind of summer vacation feeling was really nice after such a long time, really, of not being able to travel. So that was a fun summer memory, although maybe not as stereotypically associated with the summertime. It was still really good. And I hope to do another summer vacation similar to that next year as well.
Thank you for sharing, Vanessa. And with that, I would like to start with the meeting and our agenda tonight. We have a full agenda. We have two speakers who will be delighting us with their icebreaker speeches tonight. We will have a group of members who will be collaborators in running the agenda tonight. I would like to introduce them, starting with our inspirational speaker, who is tonight Jimmy Cruz. So help me welcoming Jimmy Cruz, our joke master, inspirational speaker tonight.
Thank you, Elvis. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. It's a pleasure to be here today. And I love the theme. You know, everybody really doesn't want to see summer end. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? Maybe some of the heat we really could do without, but if it's nice and cool and it's summertime, I know that's a pleasure all day long, at least for me anyway. Also, as Jamie stated, with sports being in the front windshield that we all take a look at now that we're looking at TV, got baseball games, got a lot of football games, I decided to throw in a team quote, if you will. And the inspirational quote or thought, if you wanted to put it in that category, would be talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. Now, with that being said, as we take a look at everything that we do, we can always look at ourselves, whether it's our family members, whether it's our peers, and we can always say, look, I think we have a winning formula. But when you look at it, and if everybody's not on the same page as David and the entire team looks at trying to fill roles and gain members to try to make the club as professional and as successful as possible, we can have a stellar team, but if everybody's not putting in work, we can't really be successful and win that championship. So I would say that would be the inspirational quote. You know, let's take a look at our family. Let's take a look at our friends, the work environment that we all, you know, live and breathe every day, right? And see what we can do to exercise stronger capabilities to be more effective, to make everybody win that good old championship ring. So including myself, because I definitely need to get on stage and get my icebreaker done. So again, I appreciate you guys, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jimmy. We all need to win our championship. Great quotes and great inspirational speech. Now, let's continue on with our next collaborator, who will be our grammarian for the night. Let's give us a round of applause for our grammarian, Gabe Llewellyn. Did I say that correct? You're on mute, Gabe.
All right, there we go. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Yes, I have the distinct role of being the grammarian, so I will pay special attention to, I guess, the faux pas that we all tend to have from time to time, the uhs, the you knows. So I will be focusing on that with the various speeches and different roles that we have. And the word of today is inspire. So let's try to incorporate that. It means to motivate, to, there's an right there, to encourage, to ignite. So yeah, let's all share and inspire each other with our speeches tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabe. And to keep track of all of the speeches tonight, we have a timer. Our timer tonight is Avinash Singh.
Thank you, Elvis. Greetings, fellow Toastmaster and respected guests. My name is Avinash Singh, and I'm going to be the timer for today's meeting. As a timer, I'll be timing various speeches, which are formal speeches, table topics, and evaluations. I will also alert the speakers of the time left. So formal speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, and icebreakers are 4 to 6 minutes. At 5 minutes, my screen will turn to green, which looks like something like this. At 6 minutes, I'll alert the speaker with the background of yellow, which looks like this. And at 7 minutes, my background will turn to red. Similarly, for table topics, the time limit is 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, background will change to green, 1 minute, 30 seconds, yellow, and at 2 minutes, red. For evaluations, the time limit is 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, my screen will turn to green, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, yellow, and at 3 minutes, red. That's all about the timing of the speeches. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Avinash, for that thorough explanation about the timing and how it works with your background to point out when the time has finished for every speaker. Now, as we daydream about the summer and the falling leaves and the end of those hot summer suns, I would like to start sharing with you some quotes to lift up our spirits along the meeting. So the first one is, to say it was a beautiful day would not begin to explain it. It was that day when the end of summer intersects perfectly with the start of fall. Anne Patchett. Now we're going to start the section of our prepared speeches. Our first speaker tonight is going to be giving us a speech, which is the first one of their individual pathway program. She is recently been a Toastmaster, has taken roles as evaluator and many other roles, even been one of the newest members in the club. She is taking on challenges and going ahead with her first speech tonight. Please, let's give a big round of applause for our first speaker, Jenny Farias, with her icebreaker speech tonight.
I'm kind of short, so I'm going to do this. So you'll need to lift it up. Thank you, Elvis, and thank you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The theme of my icebreaker speech tonight is to swipe right or to swipe left. And for those of you in the audience, how many of you have ever been on an online dating app? Oh, wow. Okay. More people than I thought. Good. So I'm not alone. As you know, the speech is actually less about online dating, although very connected to a little bit introduction about me and how I got to Charlotte and how I moved here. And so my name is Jenny. For those of you that don't know me, even though Elvis just introduced me, thank you so much. I come from a crazy Cuban family. And if anybody's ever seen the movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, my family resembles them. It's a bunch of loud 40 to 50 people around a Thanksgiving table, Christmas, roasting the pig. Everybody's in each other's business. And this is the family I was born into, and they're amazing in many ways. But as you can imagine, we're all very close. My dad, just to give you some visual context, sounds like the Don from The Godfather, with a very husky voice, with a Tony Montana accent. And then my mom is this very adorable, super cute, loving Cuban woman and calls me Yenny because she cannot pronounce the J in Jenny or Jennifer. And so they have went to high school prom together. They've been together for a very long time and we're all very close. And so a lot of people, I moved to Charlotte during the pandemic and they asked, you know, why did you leave Miami? It's so cool there. There's awesome things to do, beautiful beaches. You have such an awesome family that's so close. And so for a long time, I was like, you know, just kept me there, that close connection. But for those of you, and I know there's some people from Miami, like David and Natalie, and can maybe relate to this, if anybody's been to Miami or probably it's on your bucket list, it's a very fun city. And with a very fun city tends to not draw in the most quality people when it comes to settling down. And so I always was very adventurous. I just embarked in a life of adventure. I moved to New York City in my 20s, booked a one-way flight, kind of started a fresh life, focused on my career, travel with friends. So settling down in the sense that didn't happen. Wasn't curious about that until kind of nearing, you know, the age of 33. And so I was starting to explore what that looked like for me. And here come all the dating apps. So I had a dating profile on every single app you can imagine, Match, Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, you name it. And for those of you who have been there, there's an entire dictionary. I could probably do an hour speech on the things that happen in dating life. And for some reason, I was a magnet for red flags. And so, I mean, I think at one point I was wrapped in like a red banner from how many red flags I just had, to the point that my mother had a list called the terrorist of all the people that I, you know, seem to attract. And so there's so many things that happen with online dating, like ghosting, breadcrumbing, orbiting, catfishing, just an entire dictionary that I can go through at one point. But the point is that these things were happening to me. And then I just realized that maybe it wasn't what I was drawing in. Maybe I needed to kind of reset and rethink what I was wanting in my life when it came to settling down. And part of that was the environment that I was in. And maybe it wasn't, you know, going to bring me the kind of person that I was seeking. And so I, you know, decided during pandemic, I kind of slowed down my life and I just told my family, I was like, I'm going to move to Charlotte. And as you can imagine, they're like, what's in Charlotte? Who's there? Who do you know? I didn't have a job here. I knew one person. I'd never been here. And I just took the risk and I just felt it in my gut that I should relocate here. And so I did that. I definitely did some swiping when I got here. It was better than Miami, which was good news. But then something happened to me in the beginning of January 2021. And I just was like, you know what? I've done the work. I changed my environment. I changed my career. I'm more aligned in with who I am. I'm just going to surrender and leave it to the universe. And so I got off all the apps and something amazing happened. And I met a great guy and we've been together ever since. And so the moral of the story is that you should swipe right on yourself.
Thank you, Jenny. What an interesting speech and what an interesting story. Thank you for sharing that with all of us. Our next speaker is going to be also one of our new members, and he has taken also many roles. As a matter of fact, he is part of our board. He has joined recently as our Sergeant at Arms. He will be giving also his icebreaker, as I mentioned briefly. His name is Jamie Richardson. Let's give a big round of applause to our second speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So I was raised by two parents absolutely passionate about their careers. My mom was a math major degree, and she was an early pioneer in computers. She ran the systems lab for the Institute of Ecology at the University of Georgia, and she helped professors and students with their research. My dad is one of the earliest sea turtle conservationists and spent his whole career building nesting programs and helping preserve sea turtle habitats. I said they were passionate. Let me give you some examples. On the day I was born, my dad was on a Caribbean island, 1,000 miles away, with his research students, because the trip had been planned for months and those sea turtles weren't going to save themselves. 2 weeks later, my mom went back to work and I went with her. I slept under her desk, and pretty soon I was crawling around the floors of the science library while my mom, late into the night, processed punch cards for statistical research. For the younger people in the audience, punch cards are pieces of paper that had holes in them that computers used to process and store data long before there were drives or disks or clouds. And I know that's weird, but that's the dinosaur times that I grew up in. Soon after, or actually, sorry, as you can imagine, as my parents were gone traveling, either working late at night, I had a lot of independence. So I was the classic latchkey kid. I would get home from school and have the entire afternoon and evening to myself. I didn't have a lot of activities to keep me busy. I didn't have friends around to keep me occupied. So I was susceptible to negative distractions, you can say. And some of you may know where this is going, and that's right. I watched a lot of TV, hours of TV, specifically MTV, which for the younger people in the audience who don't know, was a television program that 24 hours a day did nothing but play music videos. I know, that's pretty weird. But it was part of my day-to-day life. Kurt Loder was a parental figure for me, and Pauly Shore, for those of you who know him, was a role model. Like I said, I was headed down a bad path. I wasn't achieving, I wasn't growing, I wasn't focused. I needed more drive. So I found that drive through school and sports. I liked that I could focus and get better at it. It was measurable, you could keep score. You know that you were progressing. I used that drive to then get a scholarship to college. And pretty soon I embraced the whole work hard, play hard aspects of college in terms of academics as well as the lifestyle. But that also meant I tried to find ways to unplug from the pressures of academics. Mindless fun, as they say. Well, mindless fun can sometimes lead to addictive behaviors and bad choices. And some of you may know where this is going as well. I played a lot of video games. I mean, hours of video games where you sit down in a chair and 7 hours later, it's the middle of the night, you don't even know where the time went. Specifically, my vice was what they call multiplayer online FPS games. For the older people in the audience, FPS means first-person shooter games, where you go online and you shoot strangers for fun. I know, that's weird too. But for me, it was catnip, because it was leaderboards and earning achievements and prestige and talking smack to kids all over the world. It was also a terrible waste of time. So I was headed down an unhealthy path. I needed to find more balanced ways of spending my time. And so I put down the keyboard and I moved on with my life. I pursued a career in finance and consulting, which allowed me to do interesting work and travel to cool places and work on fantastic teams. I got married to an amazing woman. We have 3 kids that are talented and kind, and I pursued hobbies that were more healthy for me, like traveling and hiking and doing projects around the house, and things are good. I'm fulfilled and driven by my work. I find balance and joy from my family and friends, but something's still missing. That spark that my parents had early on in their career that inspired them, the purpose that they found, I'm still looking for that. And I bet some of you know where this is going too. No, really, do you? Because I don't. I haven't found it yet, but that's okay. I'll keep looking. And I know that when I do find that purpose, it'll be important that I can tell a story about it. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jamie. Very interesting speech. I'm sure that you will find your purpose. You're in the right path. Now, before we go on with the next session, I would like to call for the timer report. Avinash?
Sure, Elvis. So Jenny took 5 minutes, 10 seconds, so she qualifies. Jamie, you took 4 minutes, 45 seconds, so you also qualified. Back to you.
Thank you, Avinash. Thank you. Another quote about the summer end. A falling leaf is nothing more than a summer's wave goodbye. That's from an unknown author. Now, the next session is our fun part of the meeting. Is called our table topics or impromptu speaking. Our table topics master tonight is going to be our Toastmaster, Stuart Bryson. Please, let's give a round of applause to Stuart Bryson, our table topics master.
Okay, can everyone online hear me? I'm not on mute. Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honoured guests. My name is Stuart Bryson, and I will be your table topics master for this evening. My job is to facilitate table topics where guests and members will have an opportunity to practice impromptu speaking. I will ask for volunteers to answer pre-prepared questions, and they'll be given 1 to 2 minutes to give their response. Can I now ask for my first volunteer? Steve, do you want to come up and... Sure. So I feel like Elvis was playing Battleship with my quote that I was going to introduce my first question with. F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote, "Life starts over again when it gets crisp in the fall." Do you see the end of summer as the end of something or as the beginning of something?
Great question. I always hate to see summer go. Spring is actually my favorite time of year. I love spring because it leads into summer. And it also, that's when it's getting warm and everybody's out and about and there's lots to do and everybody's got energy, especially in myself. When it gets into summer, it's that transition into summer, which summer's got to be my favorite, hands down, because in the summer, it's almost like it's still, that summer vacation still lives in my mind. So I take it a little easy with my job and my career in the summer. And it's almost like I have a summer vacation. I don't know if that happens to people out there, and I think it does, because at the end of summer now, my mind is starting to gear up, and it's sort of an inspiration. I get an inspiration to go ahead and prepare for the end of the summer because I don't want to miss summer. One time, I remember summer just passed me by. I don't know where my head was, but I actually wrote a poem. I used to write poems. And I actually wrote a poem about it. I was so sad about it, and it actually helped me get through the end of the summer. So, I do use the word so sometimes. That is my summation of summer and the way it ends for me. And I'm still savoring it right now. We've got what, 7 more days. And the nice thing about living in North Carolina, though, is summer actually lasts to, we've got through November, through the end of October. So shorts through the end of October, go summer.
Well done. Thank you, Steve. That's a response I can definitely relate to myself. I think for some people, it's the changing of the leaves on the trees. Some people, it's the return to football season that marks the end of summer. I've actually started reading out the next question here before asking for a volunteer. So I'll leave the end of the question until I have the volunteer, and then I will continue. Who would like to volunteer next? Daniel? So, Daniel, what marks the end of summer for you?
So actually, I used to love summer more than anything else, especially when I went to high school and middle school. But recently, I don't know why, I started loving winter and spring more. And especially because of AC that is working in my apartment constantly 24/7. And but summer was, I mean, the funnest times that I had in my childhood. And as you said before, sorry, I forgot your name, Steve, I had the same memories in my head, because summer is like the end of school, and it's the time to enjoy, basically. But I think that where I'm from originally, we have 4 different seasons, and it's also every single season is beautiful by its own. And but for me, I probably like winter more than summer now. having lived in different states like Arizona and Florida as well, I'm getting a little bit tired of that heat. So, but can't wait for winter. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Since we are in a somewhat tropical climate, I like to imagine that we have a couple of weeks of summer left. Can I have another volunteer for our next question? Oh, we got one online. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, Min.
Okay, Min. Your question is, can you tell us what you would like to accomplish in the final few weeks of summer?
Oh, is it a very interesting question? For just only a couple weeks, I feel like I would like to go out more and try to enjoy the changing between the summer and the autumn time, that we will have the combination, a little bit not too hot, a little bit not too cold, and you see like you could enjoy more of the weather that is less hot, and then you can feel like you start, you're waiting for the autumn to come, you're waiting for the leaf to change the color, and then you are excited and thinking about like what would you do in the autumn, that it will come up with the pumpkin season, all of the color changing, and I'm so excited to walk around and check out more of the event that they have at the park and enjoy more of the nature.
Thank you, Min.
Thank you.
I'd now like to check with our Toastmaster, Elvis, to see if we have time for 1 or possibly 2 more questions.
I think we may have time for 1 more.
Okay, great. Do we have 1 last volunteer then?
I see Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
Sorry, it's difficult when I can't see everyone on the screen. So, given everything that we've been through in the last 18 or so months, how has this past summer differed for you compared to last year's?
That is a very good question for me, because last summer was very unusual. Not only had the COVID-19 pandemic just started, and there was a bit of chaos with adapting to working from home, but on top of that, I had decided to go and stay with my parents. And so I left my apartment in Charlotte and I drove all the way to the Chicago suburbs, where I lived with them for several months, as it turned out, working from home. And not only was I working from home there, but I was also helping them move house. It turned out that last summer, my dad decided to retire, after a long career, and they decided they would be moving to Charlotte. So eventually I would lure them back here. But in the meantime, we had a whole house to sort through, and it was a lot of effort. We had a lot of trips back and forth from our crowded basement, getting rid of things. It was a lot of work. So I'm so glad that this summer has been a little bit more relaxing, a lot more normal for me versus last summer. And I'm hoping for even better summers in the years to come.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'll now call on Avinash to give us a timers report.
Sure. Inspiring answers, speeches by every table topic speaker. So Steve was the first one. Steve took 1 minute, 37 seconds. So Steve qualifies. Sorry, I could not get the name of the speaker too. Was it Daniel?
Daniel.
Yeah, so Daniel took 1 minute, 33 seconds. So Daniel also qualifies. Min, you took 1 minute, 8 seconds. So you also qualify. And Vanessa, you took 1 minute, 18 seconds. So Vanessa also qualifies. So in short, all of our table topic speakers qualifies.
Thank you, Avinash. That concludes table topics for this evening. I'll now turn it back to our Toastmaster, Elvis.
Thank you, Stuart. I'd like to share another quote. The morning had dawned clear and cold, with a crispness that hinted at the end of summer. George R.R. Martin. Now, we're going to continue with the last portion of our meeting, which is the evaluation portion of our meeting. And for that, we're going to call at our general evaluator, who is going to be Toastmaster David Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As general evaluator, I will be evaluating the entire meeting as a whole and just kind of get my feedback on what went well and what we have room for improvement. But we also have two evaluators who are going to evaluate each of our speakers. And I'm going to start with Natalie, who's going to inspire us with a great evaluation on Jenny's speech. So take it away, Natalie.
Thank you, David. No pressure. Hello, everyone. Good evening. And Jenny, congratulations on your icebreaker. I have found it hard to believe it was your icebreaker. Just as Elvis mentioned and the team mentioned, you've stepped up as a new member into various roles. So I felt like you'd had already given it because you've been doing so much, which is amazing. You also did an excellent job delivering your speech. It looked like you felt very comfortable and was very natural. I love the topic of a swipe right or left. I think it's very relatable. And as you had a lot of people raise their hands, it was a fun way to get to know you. I appreciated that when you stepped up to the stage, you also adjusted the camera. So those of us that aren't in the room could get a really good look at you and follow along. You had good use of hand gestures as well while you were telling your story. I thought you made some really great comparisons. We were able to understand a bit about your family because you referenced My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which most people have seen or at least have a general sense of. The Godfather, another classic. So comparing your dad to The Godfather with a Tony Montana accent, I thought was very clever. And then also just the pronunciation of how your mom says Yenny instead of Jenny. I thought that really helped us get to know your family and painted a picture of the dynamic that you all have between you. I thought it was really funny when you said that you were a red flag banner and that your mom was keeping a list of the terrorists. That was just like clever. And I think, again, relatable. You had good energy for your speech. And I would just suggest for future speeches to slow down a bit. You could also add more details. I personally wanted to know how you met your new partner after getting off the apps. That's just my personally favorite stories, how people met. So that's just my personal curiosity, but you had a little bit more time, so we could have added some details. And then these are future suggestions, because again, I thought you did an excellent job. You could include a visual of what swiping is for those who maybe haven't done it, who dated pre-technology. Include some photos of your family or a photo of you and your new partner, just some visuals that complement your speech. But you did an excellent job painting pictures with words, and congratulations on your icebreaker.
Thank you, Natalie. Appreciate it. And another inspirational evaluation is from our immediate past president, Vanessa Waller. And Vanessa is going to evaluate Jamie's speech. So take it away, Vanessa.
Thanks, David, and thank you, Jamie. So exciting to have 2 icebreakers in one evening. And as always, I feel as though I'm a broken record, but I keep saying it's hard for me to believe these are icebreakers because they are so confidently delivered and so well laid out. And this was absolutely no exception to that streak we've had here at Queen City Toastmasters. Jamie, I loved several things about your speech that I'll touch on. And it was great to hear more about you. It was the ideal icebreaker topic. We really felt like we got to know a bit of your life story. But a few things that really stood out to me that were exceptionally well done. One was your structure. And I tend to nerd out a little bit about speech structure because I think it's interesting. But one thing I noticed you did really well is you would bring up similar themes or motifs, if you will, in your speech. And those kept the audience following along with your story. Sometimes stories can be difficult to structure, and it's easy to just ramble and say, this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And then the audience sometimes gets a little bit lost. But what you did really well was you said, you can probably see where this is going. I watched a lot of TV. Then you said that again, but this time it was video games. And then again, and you left us with this interesting cliffhanger of, I don't know what my spark is, but I'm still figuring it out. Using that little phrase of, you can probably guess where this is going, that was a signal to us as the listeners to recognize the parallels in terms of the themes you were laying out in your speech. And it made your story much easier for us to follow along with. Even though it had so much variety and interest, we could still follow it really clearly. Another thing I wanted to point out is I loved how you kind of did this, perhaps unintentionally, I'm not sure, but you had these almost opposite themes. You had your parents being very driven and passionate. And in contrast, you talked about how you were slacking off, you're watching TV. That was an interesting theme. In a future speech, I'd love to hear more about some of those contrasts that have come into your life, some of those interesting themes that maybe seem opposite, but maybe there are some connections between the two. And maybe in a future speech, you could explore that connection, even more. But I have to say, for an icebreaker, it was phenomenal. And finally, I've got to say a shout out to your imagery, your use of describing sea turtle research, Caribbean islands, TV, MTV. It was all just so rich in imagery that I could picture exactly what you were saying. The only complaint I had is I had trouble seeing you because you're standing a little too far from the laptop. But I'm sure that's an easy thing to fix. And I'll look forward to seeing more of your speeches coming up in the future.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vanessa. Appreciate that feedback. And Avinash, can we get a timer's report on our 2 evaluators, please?
Sure. Natalie took 2 minutes, 36 seconds. So she qualifies. Vanisha took exactly 3 minutes. So Vanisha also qualifies.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Timer. And next up, we're going to have our grammarian come up and tell us how we did with our speech patterns and our word of the day. So please welcome back up, Gabe.
Thank you. Thank you. Great job, everyone, across the board. Let me fix this camera here. Sorry. Great speeches. I was really impressed by the variety, and just it was certainly fun to to watch and very inspiring. Let's start off with the first one. So I'm missing some names here, so I apologize, and y'all can fill me in. That would be great. So the first person I have is the Joke Master, and I have 2 ums and a you know. The timer, I have an for Jenny. Great speech. There's 3 uhs, 2 ums, and 3 you knows. Jamie, I have 5 uhs and 2 ums. For table topics, Steve, great job. I have 2 ums and 1 so. Daniel, I have 4 uhs, 1 I mean, and the third table topics person, I missed the name. Mim. Okay. I have 6 ums. The fourth was 0, so fantastic there. And then general evaluators, David, great use of the word inspire. I think you used it twice. And then Natalie, I had 1 for the second evaluator, and then Vanessa, 0 ums. So there you go. Final tally. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Cromerian. A lot of roles. Now for my, well, he's much taller than me. Okay. My role as general evaluator. Of course, tonight's meeting was great. We had 2 icebreakers, which we always enjoy. For those of you who don't know, Jenny has actually been Toastmaster of the Day before she gave her icebreaker. Usually Toastmaster of the Day is one of the bigger roles and it's harder, but she stepped in and did it. Jamie's done many roles as well, so I appreciate that. Elvis stepped in last minute. I think he became the Toastmaster sometime this afternoon. So he came up with the quick theme and he did it great. So that's what the club's about, is just making it happen, that whatever it takes to do. Gabe, he's a newer member. Today, I believe, is his first role, and he's a grammarian. So he took that big role on. Stuart, first time as table topics master. He also did great. And I appreciate all the new members. It seems like the newer members are the ones that sign up for the roles the most. So I appreciate that. No slight to our longer members, but the younger members do step up. And both speeches were great. I mean, obviously being from Miami, Natalie and I can relate to The Godfather with a Tony Montana accent. That's like perfect for Miami. So I really enjoyed that. And when Jamie was talking about an addiction problem, I think he said addiction problem. Was that what we were going, addiction or something like that? Oh, addiction. Being from Miami, I was going in a totally different direction. You went to video games, which is much better than Miamians do. But overall, I think we had a great meeting, and I appreciate everybody who participated. And I'm going to turn it back to our table topic master, Elvis. Take it away, Elvis.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Great evaluations. I'm now coming to the end of my role as a Toastmaster. I would like to thank you all for allowing me to be the Toastmaster of tonight's meeting. I will like to end with a quote from Legally Pulitzer. It's always summer somewhere. With that, I will take it back. I'll give you back to our presiding officer, who is none other than David Jones. You're on mute.
David, I think you're on mute.
I was doing so good too. All right. So I said, thank you, Elvis. I appreciate it. You did a great job tonight. Now we're going to do the award ceremony, and we have not been really doing it because the polls, whenever we do them on Zoom, show up on the screen, and we like to keep that confidential. And then we haven't really gotten into the ballot counting here yet, but as we get more people, we will. So once again, you're not going to believe this, but the table topics, it was a tie. All 4 of them had a tie. So Vanessa and Min, you both have won Best Table Topics Online. So here's your awards. And then our 2 Table Topics people in person, you both won. I want to start with Steve, who is a returning member. I want to give you, I don't know if you've ever gotten an award before. I don't know if you've ever received an award before, like a ribbon. Did they have them back then? They had them back then. All right, so Steve, appreciate it. And then, of course, our other one is Daniel, a newer member. Appreciate it. There you go. Thank you much. And then our two evaluators, of course, were both a tie. We had Vanessa again and Natalie. Congratulations. And then our two speakers were both icebreakers. So we have special awards for icebreakers. So they both get them regardless of who won or lose, but they both won. So both want to come up and get your icebreaker. And it basically says they did their icebreakers. So Jamie, congratulations. And Jenny, congratulations. And Daniel, did you ever get a new member thing, a red one? No? Okay, well, you can come up and get another one. This is for our new member, Daniel, which is whenever you're a new member, you get where leaders are made. So congratulations for that. And then we also have Andrea, the chocolate butterfly Williams, who is our newest member. She gets one too. And with that, I want to turn it over to our guests and see their feedback, what they thought of the meeting. So Eric, do you want to say what you thought about the meeting and any feedback about it?
I loved it. I thought it was really great. I appreciated the structure, the honesty of people who spoke. Mr. Cruz's words I found very inspirational, and I think we can never get enough of those kinds of speeches or words from other people. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to join you all today, and I hope to be back.
Perfect. Thank you much for joining us. And Min, you did a great job doing table topics. What was your thoughts of the meeting?
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here, and I really enjoyed the meeting. I think all of the speakers, they expressed their idea very well by body language, also by their word. And the evaluator also pay attention to every detail and bring out the strength of the speaker, and also give them more specific action that they can do better in the future that can help them improve not only the speaking, but also for the content. So I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate the environment, very friendly and very high educational. So thank you so much. I'm very glad to be here, and I have learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. And then finally, Steve, wanted to find out how Queen City's changed since you were last here a couple of years ago, 20, 30 years ago. Not sure. There we go. Thanks.
So it's sort of interesting because the people in the group that I was with originally had been together a long time, and they were a lot older people. This is a little bit more vibrant and fun in a lot of respects. So that's what I see. And I like the group. I like the group. I attended 2 other Toastmasters group, not going to mention any groups, but this is the one I like. So I thought I like. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you much. And with that, do I have any board member announcements or thoughts, feedback? No? Looks like we're actually going to finish the meeting on time. So with that, I will take the gavel and close the meeting. And thank you everybody for coming. And hopefully we'll see you all next week. So, thanks. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Yeah,
I'll be back. I may not be back here next week, but I'll be back the week after. Or maybe here next week. Sometimes it's like racquetball and wine.
Nice.
And I gotta start getting back. But,
yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I'll be here. So.
Right. Thank you much. Thank you. Good meeting you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Elvis, Jimmy, inspirational. Thank you. Jumping in, doing that.
Yeah, Jimmy, thank you for jumping in.
Yeah, I tried to, I clicked on the link. You know how you send out the link that goes out, and I got an error message. So I guess the role was already filled. It was for the, I guess it was the grammarian role. But I don't know, I guess it was filled already, but I got a response that It was like an error message or something like that.
Hmm.
So
Oh, interesting.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you've seen. I can show it to you.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what you can do is go to the Queen City Toastmasters
All right, good night. Thanks.
club. It's qctm.toastmastersclubs.org.
Yeah.
And then sign in through that one.
Okay, just do it through there, basically. Okay. Yeah, because I got the I'll forward it to you. I just did it off because whenever you send the email out, I'm just for work, I'm just so bogged down. But it was just kind of weird that that's the way it came back.
Yeah, let me send you the chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have the I have it on the website. It was just kind of weird on the way that it came through.
Maybe maybe something happened there, but anyway, so thank you for jumping in, and I'm glad that you did.
It was.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
If there's anything I can help you with, then just let me know, and to get the either your icebreaker schedule or any.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Any idea?
I want to for next week. I'm waiting on. I got to go to Atlanta, and is dealing with we got a situation happening there, so they have me scheduled there all week, but I've reached out to the person several times and haven't got a response back yet. So I'm not going to try to push that. And with this person, I know I'm going to have to talk to him during the day, him and his team, and then actually deal. I guess when I say deal, because he's a difficult person to deal with. But I'm going to have to probably more than likely take him and his team out while I'm there, like each night that I'm there. So I'll let you know, but I want to do it. I want to actually do it next week, if at all possible. So I'll work on it. I'll make it a point to work on it this week to get, just to get my speech outlined, because it's 4 to 6 minutes. I know it shouldn't be too much. And I really like the icebreakers today. I mean, all the icebreakers are usually good. It just gives you a background on yourself, but I want to at least get it scheduled. And I'll keep you posted on, at least by Friday, I should hopefully know something. But I'm pushing for Thursday, because if they don't tell me something, I'm not going to Atlanta for no reason.
No, you know what? So one thing that you can do is either you can, so that you don't feel the pressure scheduling and then feeling like, oh my gosh, I have the time and then I have to do it. One thing that you can do is, like you said, just create the outline. Think about some topic. It could be anything about you. Something about you that you can feel like you can talk for 4 minutes. Minimum.
Yeah,
4
I
minutes.
got it.
And then you schedule it maybe when you are in your leisure time, or when you have some time available while you're traveling, then you can dedicate a few minutes. It doesn't have to be on a single sit. You just try to lay down. Oh, I would like to talk about this, and then when you have some more time, then you start laying out. Oh, I would like to start with this. Put some ideas there, and then that will give you kind of a structure of what you want to talk about. And then you try to rehearse it yourself to see if that will be enough to give you 4 minutes, and that's how you kind of lay it out. So once you feel like, okay, I can I feel comfortable with what I have, then you schedule it, because rain or shine, you already have your content that you can speak about, and there will be less pressure.
Right. Yeah. Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and outline it. I got a good basis on where I want to run with it. As far as signing up for the role, do I just let you know that I look to do that, or do I have to go on the website to do that?
Yeah, if you can log into the website and you don't have any problems, then you can do it yourself. But if you run into any trouble, then you can let me know and I can sign you up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that. I'll get that handled. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Sounds good, friend.
Definitely good meeting. I enjoy myself as always when I'm here. So it's
you
always
did a great
good.
job, actually.
Yeah, it's grueling days. And the kids don't make it any easier, and travel and travel definitely doesn't make it easy. But I'm exhausted, man, from last week and even from this week already, and it's Tuesday. So.
I hear you. I hear you.
All
well,
right.
Well, take it easy. See you then next time.
All right, y'all take care. Thanks.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye.